Welcome to the Team Lally Real Estate Show, home of the Guaranteed Sold program, or we'll buy it. If you have any questions, just give us a call at 799-9596 or check us out online at teamlally.com.
Hey everybody, this is the art part of the show, Tilio's Random Thoughts, and today I want to talk to you about a lot of times with these phones that we have these different, what are the different ways that people communicate with each other on the phone, Adrian?
Well, they can call you.
So you can call voice to voice. What's another way?
Text message.
Text messaging, and then
through social media, direct messages.
Yeah, social media. I think one more, right? Got one more? FaceTime?
Oh, and the FaceTime?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So these are all, so I'm not, this is not some tip on how to use your phone and communicate with people. What I want to talk about is just the social etiquette and the politeness of returning people's communication. So let's start with the thing that's most important to people is family and friends. And for the life of me, I can't figure it out why you have some family and friends that when, like one, we're my favorite line, I don't know if I heard it or made it up myself, is that we're so connected, we're disconnected. I'll say it one more time. We're so connected with the phone and social media and everything. It's like we know what's going on in everybody's lives that it preempts the old school way of like calling and catching up with each other. Like, why I got to call and catch up with you? I know exactly what you ate this morning because you took a picture of it. So I would tell you that that doesn't create human connection, not authentically at least, and that studies have shown that you can really only maintain good relationships with about 5 to 6 people. And then from a business standpoint or less casual standpoint, 150. So if you're one of those people with 10,000 friends on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, that, that's just...
They're surface level.
Yeah, they're super surface level. Mm-hmm. So I want to drill it back down to your 5 or 6 people. Dr. Brene Brown calls them your square squad. What's a square squad, Adrian?
So you draw a tiny square.
1 inch by 1 inch.
Yes. And then you write all of the people that you are closely connected to within that square.
And how would we define closely connected to?
I think like people that you can count on.
Yeah.
Like if you were in trouble or, they'll do whatever they'll do whatever you need, especially like in a time of crisis.
Yeah, these are your kind of point. I call them the kind of point people in your lives. Mm. You're at kind of point. You got a flat tire, and now you get the spare out, and it's flat. Oh, you know what Teslas? They don't have a spare tire. Mm-hmm. That's kind of
okay. Back to the topic.
So they're gonna call a tow truck, and then it'll be there. You won't even know you have a flat tire because it'll just be, the tow truck will come out and fix them. But you're out there. And maybe you went to kind of point, you got back to your car, you're fussing around with it. Maybe it's late at night and it's like 10, 11 o'clock at night. This would be the persons that you would call and you would say, I'm at kind of point, I have a flat tire, my spare is flat. Can you come out and help me? Like go to Walmart, get the Fix-A-Flat compressed air can thing, come out here and see if we can fix it. And they go, you got it. Or as we say in Hawaii, they say, shoots. And then they just go. They don't question it. They don't give you a hard time. They answer the phone. And then they get back to you and say, hey, you got it. I'm there. So with my kids, as a parent, this should be the connection you have with your kids. And I tell them every once in a while, I don't tell them every time, but I tell them, all 3 of them, I just want to let you know that your mom and dad, no matter, I can say it for me and I can say it's true for your mom, that no matter where you're at in the world, no matter what you need, we will come to you and help you, to always know that. And Adrian, isn't it comforting to know that you have people like that in your life?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we're hoping that you have people like that in your life, and we're hoping that you are one of those people in someone else's life. And that is how to be a better version of yourself.
And how is this interconnected with the phone and all the different ways of communicating?
Hey, kids, if your parents call you, return the call. Don't text back. Return the call. If they text you, they're most likely going to say, call me. So call them back. Have a voice-to-voice conversation with your parents, you kids out there. And I'm talking like kids, even if you're like 40, 50 years old, call your parents back and talk to them. We are all guilty of not getting back to somebody, even me. I'm giving you the advice and I'm guilty of this. I'm not perfect either, but we do our best. And like for me, I just call people right away. I just call them back. They're like, oh, did you hear my voicemail? I'm like, nope, missed your call. What's up? And just go. Call them back. Find out what's going on. I'll leave you with this. A lot of times what we're dreading or concerned about when we call them and that interaction, 90% of the time it's not even true. And 90% of the time you've overinflated the drama or the stress of it. It's not that bad. Even if it's...
you're just making up some stories.
Yeah, you're writing a story, as Dr. Brene Brown says. Stop writing the story. Pick them up. Call them. And then after you get off with them, you're like, wow, that wasn't even anywhere near what I thought it was going to be. So that's it for today. Speaking of somebody that returns your calls, shows up when he needs to, and gives you the table of contents, the owner's manual per se, kind of, sort of, for your home. Who's that, Adrian?
That would be Kenji Vendetta of Pillar to Post Home Inspections.
Yes. Hey, Kenji.
Hey there.
What you got for us this week?
Window seals, exterior window seals.
Yeah.
To maintain them and to make sure that they're in good condition.
Yeah.
Because if not, you can get moisture seeping through your windows. And because you're not paying attention to the windows, they can cause interior wood rot around the window frames and so forth. And that could lead down into structural issues with water damage. So
we had a listing with that.
Yes. And it was like, I think it was, what was it, like $14,000 or something like that
to fix it. Well, actually, we're on the buy side.
To replace these windows.
Old 70s style, wood construction, pier and post. Double wall construction, but big, huge windows. And you know, it's in Manoa. Like, it rains like every hour on the hour over there. And so, yeah, they had water intrusion on the inside. And then was dribbling down the inside of the window and then going down the beams. And you could see it.
Just causing all sorts of problems.
Yeah.
So what's the solution, Kenji? What do you recommend for our listeners to help, maintain the window seals?
Yeah.
Caulking goes a long way. If you see cracked caulking in the corners, have a window specialist come out, put a new bead in there. If the rubber seal is actually starting to separate, let's see if we can get the window specialist come out to redo the seal, or if not, fill the seal in with some caulking. Just that way, it prevents moisture from penetrating through the window. That's just an error for thousands of dollars in damages to happen.
Yeah. What about I know that people said too that you should make sure like the outside frame, what do they call it? The weep holes? Weep holes?
Yeah, weep holes, correct. Weep holes are exposed and not covered with debris or filled with debris. Yeah. Because that's how water gets out. I did another home inspection and the weep holes were present. This is in a condo. The house shifted, but the seals all around the window frame themselves, they were broken. The caulking was broken, and that's how water is penetrating the unit from the outside, especially when we had those heavy rains this past December. Yeah. So, yeah, you got to maintain those window sills on condominiums and at any level of your home, whether townhouse or single family.
Yeah. I think the tricky one, too, is it's always those second level ones, right, that people don't. They're like, I haven't cleaned that window. That window was cleaned by the builder back in 1985, and that was the last time we cleaned it.
Exactly.
Yeah, so people only start taking a look at that when they go to sell, but if like you said, that great advice, if they take a look at it sooner, maybe it prevents a lot
more damage.
Damage down the road. So, all right.
Well, thank you, Kenji. That's an excellent reminder on window maintenance and care. Yes.
You're welcome.
Thank you. So in the real world, the window seals of our relationship is picking up the phone and returning those calls, back to what we were talking about in the beginning. And True Connection really, if you're texting back and forth between each other, which is really common with a lot of the younger people, that's really not necessarily, in my opinion, a form of true connection. You gotta, true connection is when you can have as many of your senses engaged in that moment.
In the communication.
We read a book called 7 Levels of Communication. We actually had the author.
Michael Mayer.
Michael Mayer was on the show, and he talks right at the top is, what's at the top? Like a pyramid. The top.
Oh, yeah, face to face.
Face to face, and then what's next after that?
Voice to voice on the phone.
Voice to voice. So, and then when you get away from face to face and voice to voice for you people in sales, you're not... you're out of the zone of persuasion. Persuasion is face-to-face, voice-to-voice. You can still have persuasion via email, text messaging.
It's just not as effective.
Not as effective, and that would be more in the category of sharing information.
It's a little bit less impersonal.
Yeah,
right?
Information is not impactful. Persuasion is impactful, and I want to make sure you understand, because lay people don't understand that there is a difference between persuasion and what's the bad one of that?
Manipulation.
And so we're talking about persuasion, which is what versus manipulation?
So persuasion is, I think, like providing more information because it's like a good decision for them. And you're just like helping to, reaffirm or reassure give the additional information so that they can make a good decision for them.
Which one's win-win and which one's win-lose?
And then manipulation is that like you're just trying to get them to do something that may not be what's best for them. It's what's best for you as a salesperson, but not what's best for them.
And that's why people don't like there are great car salespeople, but that connotation of a car salespeople is they're just really trying to sell you. Like you go in there and you're like, I got a big family, and they're selling you a 2-door sports car. Is that really serving the client, or is that serving the car dealership? And it's not, and I don't want to beat up on car dealerships because that's some car dealerships. Actually, I would say most of them, if they're still in business for a long period of time, they're there to serve the client.
Yes.
They're not there to jam something down you. You
could use the same example with our profession.
Yeah. We call it, you need this because what do we call it?
Oh, you need gum. He's holding up some gum.
Because
Leo's calling that commission breath.
Commission breath. How you can tell if an agent has commission breath? They're really a couple things. One, they're not really hearing what your goals are. Number 2, they've heard your goals are, but they're disregarding them. Number 3, they do a lot of talking.
Yep, not a lot of
listening
and asking questions.
And number 4, they don't hardly ask any questions, or they don't go deep on what your goals and priorities are. And I would say that the length of the conversation when you're calling in. I mean, obviously, if you're just calling in to get some quick information. I thought about this when we were doing the show. We give out that number, 799-9596. And sometimes people are like, well, you're going to get our team, but what if I want to talk to Attilio and Adrian? So I'm going to give you my direct cell. If you are a seller out there and you want to call me and have me go, hello, how are you? And then talk to you with 18 years of experience, 1,600 plus transactions, 500 Google 4.9 average.
Actually, it's 5.
5.0.
We're up to 5 stars.
5.0.
Yeah.
5.0. And bring that coming from contribution, win-win conversation to the table. And I would say it's exactly the same for Adrian, because I've been in business with her now, how long?
Like 16 years. Yeah.
And then you've been in business 20 years. And so we go back and forth on who closed more transactions, because I always say it's me, but then she says it's her. And then we probably both right. But I don't know. So what's your phone? Yeah, Adrian, you want to give people their phone number?
So my number is 227-2703.
227-273. And my number is
2703. We even have a little jingle with my cell phone in it.
And then my phone number is 388-5466, 388-5466. And we just talked about it in the beginning of the show. So when they call us, we're just not going to get back to them, or that's not.
We're going to answer our phone. We're going to answer the phone and have a conversation.
That's not anything of what we talk about.
Yeah.
What did we talk about? Return the call, or even answer it.
Yeah, answer the phone or return the call.
Yeah.
Just have a good conversation.
Now, if you call us while we're doing the show, we're not going to answer,
Yes, my phone is forwarded to Renee, and Renee will take your message during the show.
But a lot of times people are like, they're trying to call us and, they got the number and then we'll call them back on our phone. And then that's our phone that's on their display. And then they're still calling the office number and saying they can't get a hold of us.
Mm-hmm.
So we just gave you the numbers. Adrian's number, 227-2703. My number, 388-5466. If you have any questions regarding real estate, any aspect of it whatsoever, I would say, with how long we've been doing the business, the volume of transactions we did, and having a servant's heart, that we would take the time to answer any of and all of your questions. And if it requires some high level of expertise that we are not experts in, we will point you in the right direction because we've come across all the different people. The one thing I want to talk about today, we seem to be running into it a lot, and is assumptive loan assumptions. I want to talk about loan assumptions because why are we seeing more and more of those being made available by the sellers to the buyers in this market?
So like 2 years ago, there was a lot of purchases and refinance when the rates were super low in the twos. And then, fast forward to today, we're seeing rates in the 6 and 7%.
I looked at my mortgage. Mm-hmm. I did it back then. I did a refi. It's like I'm thinking it's 2 5/8, but that just sounds like, I know it's below 3. Mm-hmm. And to me, that's like, wow, I never even looked at it. And then you look at it now compared to what the interest rates are. If I could sell you my house and that was an assumptive loan, 2 3/4, you'd be like, whoa, I want to get that because I don't want to pay 5, 6%, 7%. So what are some things that what are the benefits of assuming a loan? And then let's talk about the pros. Let's talk about pros and cons. What would be the pros of assuming a loan?
Well, if the loan, a lot of the interest is paid up front.
Yeah.
Right. So a big chunk of that interest. So let's say that you're assuming a loan that's maybe 3 or 4 years in, and a lot of that interest is front loaded. So you're starting to pay more on the principal.
Well, let's break that down for the listeners. If you took a look at your mortgage statement, it breaks it down, right? Mm-hmm. If you pay $5,000, it's going to be $1,000 to the principal and $4,000 to interest. Mm-hmm. Because like Adrian was explaining, it's amortization.
Yes.
They're front loading the interest up front. And then as you get more and more years into the mortgage, you're paying
more towards the principal.
It'll actually tip and then pay more towards the principal. So what's the benefit? So
you're getting to pay more towards the principal. And then, likely this loan that you're assuming is going to be in the 2 or 3%. So you're going to have a lower payment than if you were just to get a fresh new mortgage at today's rates.
So you save money on the interest rate. Mm-hmm. You are paying more towards your principal. Mm-hmm. So it's like you're taking over where they left off at.
And it's a shorter loan balance or loan term, so you'll be able to pay it off faster.
Now, as Paul Harvey says, there's the rest of the story. What are the other things that they need to know? Not necessarily cons, but something that you need to be aware of going into it. And Adrian, why are we talking about assumptive loans now? Is it like something like that's random, or is it coming up quite a bit?
Well, we have quite a few sellers that have VA loans on their property at a low interest rate. And, it's a benefit. It's a benefit that the VA offers veterans.
Well, talk about the benefit to the seller. Why would the seller want to do that?
Well, because typically they're going to get a higher offer price because it's more valuable for the buyer to have a lower monthly payment versus like just getting a fresh new loan at 6%. Yeah. So there's going to be, some incentive for them to maybe pay a little bit more on the purchase price, but then they're getting this much lower monthly payment.
I would say if you're a buyer looking at assumptive loans, if you're coming in below asking, you're shooting yourself in the foot because you're asking for the seller to allow you to assume their VA loan at that super low interest rate, and then you're not giving them anything in return or trying to negotiate down on the price. So I would highly recommend, if your realtor's telling you the advice is good, come in at or above asking if you're going to assume the loan. What does the seller need to know on a VA assumptive loan?
Well, I mean, there's two different ways to allow the assumption to go through. So one would be it's, veteran to veteran, and you're going to basically swap out the eligibility.
So the seller will be able to use their VA loan after the close of this transaction on another purchase.
Correct.
But if it's assumed by a civilian or non-veteran,
then it will tie up their eligibility until that non-veteran either pays off the loan or refinances.
Now, we had this question and we had to verify it because somebody was like, oh, I don't want to do that because if they default financially, I'm on the hook. I'm on the hook. And what did we find out from the Veterans Administration on that?
Oh, that information that was given to this particular client by another agent was not true.
Was not true. And we
called the VA direct.
Yeah, we called the VA. We actually got Tina from Loan Depot called the VA administrative office, and then she also emailed us the
response.
The memo.
The memo, yes.
The memo on that. So we saw it in writing that you're not financially on the hook because the purpose of a VA loan is why do banks like doing the VA loans?
Because they're guaranteed. There's insurance on them.
It's a government guaranteed backed loan.
Yep. So if it goes into default, then the VA will make up the difference up to, I think it's 25%.
Yeah. Now, Adrian, what happens if a seller, they're a veteran, they're selling the home, they're offering the assumptive loan, and then when that offer comes in, do they have to take it?
No.
No.
You don't have to take any offer.
You can market it that way. You don't have to take it that way. So if you're somebody, you're gonna retire, maybe you want to downside, maybe you're gonna move back to your home duty station, what is it?
Home of record.
Home of record. So Uncle Sam can pay for the moving, and you want to put your home on the market, or even if you just want to have a discussion about it, I think it's very important that you have a discussion with people who don't say stuff like you're financially going to be on the hook, wrong information. Like one of the things I'm careful of, here's the way I ask a question of anybody in my life to see how committed they are to the answer. Adrian, do you know how I ask that question?
You'll say, I could be wrong. You'll start with that.
But then how do I ask the question to get them committed to their answer?
Oh, would you bet your life on it?
So you're like, hey, is it true that if the buyer of your home defaults on your assumptive loan that you're financially on the hook? And then somebody else says, yeah, that's for sure. Then you say, would you bet your life on that answer? Then all of a sudden you're like, well, and I look at it this way. I mean, even with what I'm about to give you as a definition of a really good answer, can still have a little doubt in it, possibly. But I would say that if you went to an expert, that's what they do on any question about anything in your life, and that they've been doing it for a long time, and that they can reference some kind of written document backing up what they're telling you, that's a high probability that you could bet your life on that answer and not be dead. Not be dead based on your answer.
Because you're wrong.
Yeah, be dead. That's what we call dead wrong. So you want somebody to be dead right. So especially on these big questions, you do want to sit down with the real estate team that, I think it's just as important as knowing the answers as saying what. And you said it earlier. It's just as important as knowing the answers is the opposite of that. What?
Like knowing when you don't know the answers and
that's
and where to go maybe find that answer. And just be resourceful.
What has people answering things that they really shouldn't be talking about or experts on? What causes that in the human brain or their psyche or
their ego?
The ego.
The ego.
And the ego, how you know somebody's operating on the ego? Because it's an acronym that stands for edging God out or eliminating growth opportunities. So, anywho.
Well, I want to read a review and then let's take a break. Okay, so this one is from Alice Yang.
Yeah.
She says, Olivia is the best. She is so responsive, knowledgeable, and personable. She will steer you well. Really feels like a friend in your corner. Thank you to the rest of the team, too.
Hey, we have a home that was just listed by Laura and Debbie. It's 911841 Keaunui Drive. That's close to where you live.
Yeah, it's at North Park by Gentry.
Yeah, Unit 317 in Eva Beach. A luxurious haven nestled in the esteemed North Park by Gentry community.
Yes.
You want to read the other part?
3-bedroom, 2.5-bath gem. It offers a seamless fusion of elegance and practicality with luxury vinyl plank flooring throughout and cozy carpeting in the bedrooms. Indulge in the flexibility of a spacious upstairs loft, perfect as a second living space, playroom, or your dream home office.
Featuring Corian countertops and high-end stainless steel GE appliances. Savor the extra outdoor space with a wraparound yard, ideal for your future friends.
And it's open on Sunday.
Open on Sunday, hosting memorable gatherings.
All right, we are going to take a break, but stay with us. When we come back, we'll be talking with Eric Purcell, who recently sold his home with us. Yeah. He will share his experience on how he turned his home selling journey into a success story.
So stay with us.
Taking one cash offer for your home doesn't have to be your only option. I'm Barbara Corcoran, and especially in today's current market, having a local real estate agent who offers great marketing and options that are customized to fit your needs is smart. In Honolulu, the agents I trust are Adrian Lally and Attilio Leonardo. They can give you a guarantee to sell your home, flexible fees, or up to $10,000 in cash to help with repairs. Get the option that's right for you. Go to teamlally.com.
Hey, you know, there are all kinds of opinions out there where the real estate market is going and what to do about higher interest rates. Hey, your friend Sean Hannity here. And as a real estate investor myself, I want to tell you that I would go for the best advice on the local market. I'm talking about Adrian Lally and Attilio Leonardi of Team Lally Real Estate Group of Keller Williams, Honolulu. Now, getting expert local advice from someone who actually lives right here and has worked in real estate for years means you will have the best information to make the right decision for you. So even if you're thinking, well, should I sell now? Should I wait? Well, you can start by getting an accurate value on your home. Just go to the website, enter your address, and you'll have your home's value in a matter of seconds. It's just that simple, that easy, and you'll probably find that your home is worth more than you thought. Now, that piece of information alone is going to open up multiple options for you. Call Team Lally now at 799-9596 or online at teamlally.com. That's teamlally.com.
Welcome back, and thanks for listening to the Team Lally Real Estate Show, home of the Guaranteed Sold program, or we'll buy it. I'm Adrian.
And I'm Attilio.
And if you have any questions, just give us a call at 799-9596 or check us out online at teamlally.com.
Our guest today is a retired Navy of 23 years and currently a civilian working for the Navy. He is originally from Houston, Texas, and loves golf, fishing, swimming, and cooking.
Here to talk about his recent experience selling a home with Team Lally, please welcome today's guest, Eric Purcell.
Hey, Eric.
Hey, aloha. Good afternoon.
All right. You coming in 4x4. Good quality sound here. So, Eric, I was curious, besides this home that we had helped you sell out there in Mililani, where did you own real estate in other places?
No, I do have a home in Houston.
Gotcha.
My dad's home.
Gotcha.
So this is his first home selling experience.
And
it was a very long one, a very long relationship.
Yeah, Eric, do you remember the first time that I think we did like on some kind of like Zoom or something, right?
When you were
in Germany?
Yes.
Yes, you guys contacted me and answered every single question I had for over an hour and a half, and it made things very clear and understandable. So I really appreciate that.
You know, how long? What was this? I
feel like it was in 2020.
2020.
Was it like in the middle of COVID?
2021.
Oh,
2021. So here we are, 2024.
January or February 2021.
Oh, wow. And so we only closed on this transaction in...
like last month
in 2024. That's a long time. So, you know, when we started with Eric, he was just a baby in the crib. And then when we finished, he was a grown man. That's how long we've been working with Eric. So, As we had stated, you appreciated us answering all the questions. I think that you had initially heard about our team through the radio, and was that how you heard about us?
Absolutely, through Sean Hannity a few times. I'm like, And then I knew about you guys being in Hawaii, being on Shark Tank, and just doing a great job and having a great reputation.
Gotcha.
And we got you connected with Duke to help you to rent out the property, right? Because you had orders over to Germany.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so went to Germany for 4.5 years and rented through that property manager.
Okay.
And they were also really good and attentive and just took care of my needs. When you're so far away, you really can't do anything.
Yeah.
You have to have that medium to get business done. So I really appreciate them as well. I would highly recommend them on top of using you guys for selling.
And so tell us about your journey through this process. So you got back on island, and then after the tenants were out.
Well, no. So I think what initially prompted all of the questions was that the tenants were going to be moving out, and you were considering selling.
Yes.
Back in 2021, and you were still going to remain in Germany for another year or so. So you're like, is it a good time to sell? And so we were exploring it and like looking at the market and, considering what would the home sell for, what would need to be done to the home. And I think that's how it all had started. But then there were so many changes in Eric's life, which is why...
Stick another tenant in.
Well, which is why we, it took so long to get the home sold. Yeah. It wasn't like a 3-year long listing. It was just a very long conversation.
Yes. For the listeners out there, we want to make sure this listing wasn't on the market for 900 days.
No.
Yeah, that would be bad.
Yeah.
Moved back, decided that I want to sell, and then I didn't, and then I wanted to sell, had the for sale sign, coming soon sign up, and ended up not.
For a long time.
Yeah, then finally life took its turn and said, yes, it's time. And once the ball got rolling, documentation, finding a buyer, the negotiations back and forth, signing a lot of documents, and just any task that was out there to do was assigned quickly to an individual and taken care of. And that was impressive, too, is like Adrian would just put out a list and say, this needs to get done. And you finish this up. And I was amazed that everything got done quickly and effectively.
Yeah, Eric, would you say it's kind of like being in the Navy or where you work at today? For whatever you do, or even back in the Navy, you didn't do it all, right? You always had people to help.
I had a team. I have a team now, which is helpful. And so delegating and just making a difference and getting stuff done and timely and effectively is just the way to go. So that's what I think of you guys and your business, is that it's more like a family, because I've been involved with you guys so long. And I sold my house. I'm still talking to you guys, and I would highly recommend my friends use you guys because of that.
Awesome. And go ahead.
I was going to say we appreciate that that endorsement to your friends and family and coworkers, and I know that you've been a big advocate and fan for Team Lally as well as Hawaii Pacific Property Management, and it feels weird now that we're not calling you every Monday.
I know. So we said, hey, we got to have you on the show for one last hurrah. It's like you're like we were on the show Friends, and then this was your last episode. So it's like Eric Purcell's Friends,
but
and
it's the page of a new book.
Yeah.
And my goal was being debt free at 53. That has been accomplished.
Good. Now two compliments I want to give you, Eric, is that you were very patient through this whole process. You always were in good spirits and super handy. I mean, there was so much that...
Like odds and ends.
Yeah. That countertops and painting, removing an AC.
There was like a door that...
Oh, yeah, French door.
French doors.
You installed a French door, yeah?
I installed French doors.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll tell the listeners, too, it's like we don't have that expectation of every seller, but we just say, here's like 29 things we got to get done for property prep. You can do some, we can do some, we can have somebody else help out. So it can be a combination. And what really worked out for Eric was that he was super handy with a lot of this stuff.
And then Eric was also able to take advantage of the 10K for upgrades.
Yeah.
So Eric, can you share with our listeners a little bit about, how that was helpful and, the kind of renovations you were able to do with that extra financial support?
Because you were labor.
Yes.
Absolutely. The simplicity of it, like just saying I need this countertop or I need this particular item for installation. You guys basically purchased it. I went and picked it up and installed it.
Yeah.
And that really helped a lot. And getting into a new place, too, with the move. And not many people have liquid income of $5,000 to $10,000 laying around. So extremely helpful. And it ended up bringing the value up of the house as well.
Yeah, and we, that money, we got that laying around. We got it out of Adrian's ashtray of her car. No, we didn't get it out of the ashtray. But I'm really excited to have you come on here and talk about it because you're talking about it from like real life, like we actually do this. Because I just wonder, we say like, hey, we'll front you up to 10K or more, depending on the situation, to get your home ready for sale. Eric, answer this question because we talk about it, but it's much more impactful coming from an actual client. Did we make you make payments on that?
Nope.
Or did we get reimbursed at closing? So we got our money when you got your money. Did we charge you interest?
Nope. No interest. It was there for things I needed.
Yeah.
Things weren't nitpicked. Like if I wanted to get a particular item, you guys didn't challenge me on it, and was able to do the cabinets, countertops were the two big major things. The French door.
Yeah.
That probably added $20,000-$30,000 just from spending $4,000 or $5,000.
I think that's a key thing what you just said because we talk about it on the show. We always are going to advise our clients. It's just a basic rule of thumb. If you're going to spend $1 with the remodeling, we want to get back what, Adrian?
At least $1.50.
$1.50.
Minimum.
Yeah. So, get an ROI, get a return on. And for you, we did the return. We did the ROM, return on money, but you did the ROT. What's the ROT, Adrian?
The return on time.
Time. You put the time into it.
The sweat equity, as we call it.
The sweat equity and stuff like that. So you were very helpful in preparing your home for market and getting the return that you wanted. Talk about, and we had some, I think it's a fun, if I had to say what was the humorous part of it was, should I give you a hint, Eric? It was the cigarette butts and showers.
Oh my!
Do you want to share that part? I thought that was hilarious.
That's never happened, by the way.
I don't wish that on anybody, but if there are homeless people anywhere near these open houses, they know they're vacant.
Yeah.
So you have to be careful. Put your cameras up. Put up signs to keep them from going inside and maybe damage or something like that. The cigarette butt on the towel rack, I just so happened to find it because it was I was cleaning the bathroom.
Yeah. And by the way, Eric is not a smoker. Neither is his wife.
And I'm not a smoker.
No.
So, you're like a detective. It was a scene of a CSI Honolulu. CSI Mililani.
So this homeless person was breaking in and showering and smoking in the house.
Smoking and showering, maybe.
And then what did Team Lally do? What did we do to help to prevent this future behavior?
We put up cameras and we put up signs that you will be prosecuted, and that seemed to be the right deterrent because they never went in again.
I tell you. So these are Nest cams, by the way. And Nest cams, as long as you got. Oh, and your neighbor helped out with the Wi-Fi.
Yes,
that
at the neighbor's Wi-Fi.
Yes.
Thank you to the neighbor.
Thank you, neighbor. Well, we use the neighbor's Wi-Fi.
The neighbor as well.
Yeah.
Was helpful in general. Like I was in Texas, and they were calling me almost every morning and saying, "Hey, I think I hear noise in your house," and they go check on it, and that's when they started doing the cameras because of that problem.
Yeah, it was interesting too because Eric, we put up one camera facing the door, and then we see the camera go off because they had come in through the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
And then we realized, okay, they're coming in through the kitchen, so we put another camera facing the kitchen, and that's the one plus the signs.
Then it stopped.
Then it stopped because it was literally that situation. Smile, you're on camera. So I think at that point they're like, okay,
gotta find another vacant home to shower in.
Yeah,
and
so it
smoke
was
my
like
cigarettes.
home invasion
like a
to
hotel sign.
shower, use the toilet, and smoke my cigarettes.
And probably eat. But they didn't leave any beer in the fridge, so that wasn't very happy about that one.
They should have left a 6-pack at least and say, thank you. Give you some.
Leave.
It's like Airbnb for the for Jerry for Jerry and Sarah at who stay at the park. There was Airbnb in your house without you even knowing you're on Airbnb. So that was one of those interesting circumstances. But I think for us, we were glad that we were able to
we were solution oriented.
Yeah,
and quickly got those cameras up in the right places, and then it stopped.
Yeah. And I think too that Eric, typically, what part of the week were we calling you every week?
Every Monday.
Yep, every Monday, and then I think that's one of the things that, if you realtors are out there listening, that, I mean, for you, Eric, was that helpful for Adrian and I to call you every Monday and give you, hey, what's happened and what's the game plan?
Or even a check-in.
Yeah.
Even if there was nothing really to...
Even if there was nothing, it was extremely helpful because I felt like I was part of your team, because it is a group effort to sell a house. I mean, it's not one person making it happen. I mean, with the advertising and the web posting, Facebook, negotiating with documentation, like Damien and the cameras and the flyovers with the drone and just presentation in general was absolutely making a difference in home sales, I would say.
I think, so Eric, NAR, National Association of Realtors, is our national membership, is actually one of the largest professional memberships in the U.S. I think about 1 million of us and stuff like that. And so they survey consumers of real estate services, and the number one complaint was like, once I listed my home, I could not get a hold of my realtor. It was like communication was the number one complaint. So I think for you, it's like, I remember, we checked in with you in the beginning before we even had it listed, but sometimes if there was nothing new to report, we would literally call up Eric, and Eric would say, hello, and we would say, hello, and we would say, how are you? I said, I'm doing fine. And then, how was your day? Oh, it's pretty good. I had L&L plate lunch today, and and the weather's really nice. And I'm like, oh, that's great. What else are you going to do? No, I mean, the point being is that we would check in whether we had something to report or not, because Eric would say, oh, what about this?
Or he'd have a question or something that he needed help on, regardless of if it had anything to do with the home sale. Like we are, we're your advocates and just an additional resource to try and help in all different areas. Of your life.
Eric, what about the email recaps? Because us, we're really good about our email recaps. Were those helpful?
Very helpful, because then something you may forget that you heard on the phone, you'll go back and reread it, and it validates the things you actually talked about.
Yeah.
So that was super helpful. I actually want to implement that in my work.
Oh,
and,
good.
When I talk to people, I follow up with an email saying, this is what we discussed.
Yes.
This is what you're assigned. And I think it really helps people, because then you have a reference to go back to and like, what were they talking about? So I can go back to my email, and I go to that and see everything that's there.
Yeah, and it manages expectations and then creates clarity. And then, like you said, if there's an add-on after that, because we always think of those super critical things right after we hang up. Like, oh, wait, one more thing. And then you can always hit reply all in the email. The other thing I wanted to, so Eric, I want to compliment you. You have an R&D department. Adrian, what's Eric's R&D department with the recap emails?
It's rip off and duplicate.
Rip off and duplicate. So I'm glad that's helpful for you in your workplace. And then, you know what? I guarantee you somebody's listening to this and like, maybe I should do that too in my workplace. Adrian, you had another question for Eric, and we probably got one or two questions left for him. And
well, I mean, I guess it's just more of a statement, and that we know that the home selling process is done, and we enjoyed the communication and the relationship, but the relationship is not over, even though the home has sold. And I hope that that we are still here as a resource for any of your whether it's real estate or not. Like, we have a lot of different connections throughout the community. And we're here for you regardless of if you're selling or buying with us at, the current time.
Yeah. And then we're going to have March. We're having an event for our clients.
That's right.
Eric and Donna, you guys are going to come out to our event, and
all of our client appreciation events. And I think we're going to
only Eric and Donna, because they were nice.
And I think we've got a lunch. We have a lunch scheduled with him as well.
Oh yeah, we're going to lunch.
Yes,
that's
to
awesome.
Celebrate. Yeah.
But
perfect.
Yeah, is mom and dad still with us for you, Eric? Your mom and dad?
Dad.
Dad is.
In Texas.
If I was talking to your dad, I would tell your dad right now, you raised your son right, because he was hardworking, he was patient, handy, and
he was in good spirits the whole time.
And we had some challenging things, and Eric was always up and positive. And for your coworkers that are listening right now, your subordinates, you're lucky to have Eric as your big kahuna, your boss.
Yes.
So, and especially now that he's recapping the emails. Was that Eric?
Thank you so much for that. I'm actually going into my next meeting, and I appreciate talking to you guys so much.
Yes.
Thank you, Eric.
And looking forward to hanging out for lunch one day.
Okay, we will do that. Thanks, Eric.
Great. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you, guys.
All righty.
Aloha.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. So that was Eric Purcell. We helped him sell his house in Mililani.
Yes.
And we started initial conversation with him was almost 3 years ago. Put a renter in there. I want to talk about...
He just had a lot of different life changes. And things were, he was thinking that he's going to sell, and then they just stayed put, and then it was just kind of like a lot of back and forth. So I think that the communication and staying connected and just being of service, trying to, provide any kind of resources he needs, that like when the time was right and he was ready to go, it's like we hit the ground running.
Yeah. I think what was important to note there in that story, or him sharing his firsthand experiences, that we did stick a renter in there. Because a lot of times, I think sellers, you're maybe cautious or about calling us realtors because you think we're going to ram the sale down your throat and say that's what you got to do. But I think that for us, for every seller, we want you to build wealth. And building wealth is holding on to real estate. So we'll always say, hey, have you thought about renting it? And then a lot of people, what I find is they have a lot of misconceptions about renting, and even after all of those are addressed, they still want to sell, because selling versus renting it out is better suited for their family's goals and priorities. Is that true, Adrian? Is that how we treat our clients?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then, like we have had, some clients that, and I'll just bring up this quick example.
Mm-hmm.
I remember Pedro and Jessica Ruiz. They were a dual military couple.
Yeah.
And they were getting, I think they're I don't think they're ETSing. I think they're just PCSing onto their last duty station.
Help people with the acronym, ETS versus PCS.
So ETS means that's it. They're done, getting out.
This is their twilight duty station. They're going to retire.
And then PCS is just moving to the next duty station. So they wanted to sell their home in Kapolei.
Yeah.
And they had a dual military income still. They still had a couple more years left in the military.
And I got to correct myself. ETS doesn't mean necessarily they're retiring. It's just they're getting out of the military. Twilight duty station means you are retiring, and because then you're going into a new chapter of your life.
So, anyways, they still had the income, and I told them that it was not time to sell their home yet.
Mm-hmm.
That they could put a tenant in there, and that when they retired,
I remember
when they retired, that would be when they would be ready to sell the home. And then make sure that they have a plan for that money, because they had no plan for the money. I was like, okay, well, what are you going to do with this money?
Yeah.
When you sell this, if you sell this home now, and they didn't have a plan. So I said, no, you guys need to hold on to this home. And I think it was 3 years later that they did end up selling.
Yeah.
And they made an extra $200,000.
What? No way.
They were very happy.
No way. I say no way. You say yes way. No way. Yes way. So that's the kind of advice you can expect when you come and meet with us. And by the way, we gave it out earlier. Let's do it again. What's your phone number, Adrian, if they want to call you direct?
227-2703.
And then maybe you want somebody more funny than Adrian. You can call me, 388-5466. You want somebody more smart than Attilio? Call Adrian. More funny than Adrian? Call me. That's it. All right. The median sale price for homes, I think we have the January. I was almost going to do December, but
no, January. We got that just came out.
Here's interesting, because I have both. So in the median sale price in December of 2023, so this is last year, was $996,500. And January 2024, $1,021.16. So values have creeped up. And it was interesting, in December, we had 10% less home sales. Mm-hmm. And in January of this year, we have 22% more year over year. So there's a definite trend. Sales
it's trending up.
Sales dip December, activity, prices and activity start coming up in January, February, March. Now, if you're a buyer and you're sitting on the fence, I'm telling you, man, I hope you're double jointed and you can kick your okole off that fence, because as the interest rates drop, you're going to have more competition and prices will increase.
That's right.
As they're already starting to do. Adrian, anything else before we wrap it?
Just want to remind all of our listeners that we do live stream the show on multiple platforms. So you can find us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, X.
You've heard of the movie The Many Faces of Eve? Well, there's The Many Faces of Attilio. Mm-hmm. I'm doing one right now. You can watch on the live stream if you want to see funny faces.
Yes.
But the other thing, too, we're always looking for superstars. Mm-hmm. If you want to be part of the superstar team here, we don't necessarily need to have experience. We just got to have the right attitude. Join teamlally.com. That's jointeamlally.com. Maybe you know a superstar and you're thinking they need to get into a better vehicle. Come hang out with Adrian and Attilio. Start the process at jointeamlally.com.
Okay. And then do we want to give a quick little plug for the 10K for upgrades?
You better say it now, because we're running down. So, clock's running down.
Yeah. So give us a call. We'll go over your situation and see if the 10K for upgrade program will be a good fit, if we're going to be able to get you more money in that home prep.
We put up the money, no interest, no payments. We get reimbursed at close. So we're hip to hip with you in the trenches, making sure that you maximize your sale price. I tell you what, even if you needed $500,000 to upgrade your house and it made sense to do that, we have that option for you. So 10K is just what we're doing up front, but that's it. All right.
All right. Well, thank you for listening, and thank you to our sponsors.
Jody and Derek of Pacific Rim Mortgage.
Bradley with Allstate Insurance.
Kenji with Pillar to Post Home Inspections.
John with Kilauea Pest Control.
Duke with Hawaii Pacific Property Management.
Robinson of Fine Line Paintworks.
Jake with Skyta Construction, Roofing and Solar.
Scott with Zero Res Hawaii.
Amphi with Estate Planning Group.
Jason Wu, Attorney at Law.
Jeff with the Loan Depot.
Rhino of Hawaii Unified.
And Janice with Dreamhouse Drafting. If you want to get a hold of any of our sponsors, all you got to do is go to teamlally.com.
We also want to give a big thank you to Leah Rodriguez, our producer here in the studio.
Chee-hoo!
Make sure to tune in next week. We'll have an awesome guest talking about something that'll change your life
forever. This is the Team Lally Real Estate Show, home of the Guaranteed
Sold program. If we can't sell your home at the agreed upon price in our time frame, we'll have it bought for cash.
Thanks and aloha.